Chapter 1, Gilded Spines and Shadowed Aisles. The Grand Library of Aethel was a monument to silence. Its vast, vaulted ceilings, lost in shadow, were supported by pillars carved into the likeness of ancient, forgotten scholars. The air hung heavy, not just with the scent of aged paper and crumbling leather, but with the weight of millennia of knowledge and of secrets. Floating crystal orbs, relics of the Sun Court's artistry, drifted lazily high above, casting a pale, unwavering light upon the endless rows of books below. In this hallowed space, even the dust motes seemed to move with a sense of solemn purpose. Elara of the Sun Court stood perfectly still in one of the pools of light, a statue of gold and white. Her fingers, slender and pale, restlessly traced the gilded spine of a massive tome entitled Annals of the Solar Reign. She wasn't reading. Her entire being was focused on the deep shadows that pooled between the distant shelves of the philosophy and metaphysics aisle, a section tacitly ceded to the Shadow Grove for study. The official truce negotiations were a fragile thing, a whisper of peace after a century of cold, bitter war. But here, in the neutral ground of the library, the old enmities were etched into the very atmosphere. Her heart was a frantic drum against her ribs. He's late. Each passing second stretched into an eternity, each rustle of her own silk robes sounding like a thunderclap in the silence. To be caught here waiting would be suspicion enough. To be found with him would be catastrophic. The law was absolute, no contact, no commerce, no compassion. Their bond was a forbidden thing, a blasphemy against the foundational hatreds of their peoples. Then he came. Not with a sound, but as a shift in the darkness. A patch of shadow in the philosophy aisle deepened, solidified, and then Kael stepped forward, detaching himself from the gloom as if born from it. He wore the practical, close-fitting leathers of the Shadow Grove, garments that seemed to absorb the light rather than reflect it. Where Elara was daylight and gold, he was twilight and silvered ash. His hair was the color of raven wings, and his eyes, when they found hers across the vast space, glimmered with the deep, unsettling hue of violets at dusk. He moved between the shelves with a predator's grace, silent and sure, until he stood at the edge of her pool of light, close enough that she could feel the cool air that seemed to cling to him. "You're late," she whispered, the words a breathless accusation she didn't feel. It was a script they followed, a safe way to begin. Kael's lips quirked in a faint, almost imperceptible smile. "The sentinel paths are watched more closely now," he replied, his voice a low, resonant murmur that seemed to vibrate in the silence between them. "The talk of truce makes our respective masters nervous. They watch their borders all the more fiercely, fearing deceit." He took a final step, closing the distance. The space that had once represented the impassable chasm between their worlds now felt fragile, a pane of glass. The clean, sun-warmed scent of her skin mingled with the cool, petrichor and midnight aroma that was his. "I was worried," Elara admitted, her voice softening, the formal pretense falling away. His gaze held hers, intense and unwavering. "I know, the risk is greater now than ever." He reached out, his gloved hand hovering near hers, not yet touching. "But so is the reason to take it." In the profound silence of the library, surrounded by the recorded history of their people's strife, they stood on the precipice. The gilded spines of countless books witnessed the moment, a secret chapter being written in the space between light and shadow.